Hi, has there ever been a time where you're driving and a random teen cut you off without showing any sign of guilt or remorse? Or has there ever been a time where you were driving around town and you saw a group of teens all in one car driving around recklessly? I believe we have all been there once or twice in our lives. Coming from a young teen and a young driver myself, I've experienced all sorts of driving recklessly, especially from the ages from 16 through 19. When I was in high school once, a student who was the age of 16 years old had already had his license. He was driving around the school parking lot recklessly, and he came around a corner and he didn't realize that there was a teacher crossing the road. He didn't have time to stop, and he hit the teacher with her car, and she was sent to the hospital immediately. That student had to be suspended. However, his license wasn't taken away, or no action was taken towards his license. Teen driving over the years has been taken very lightly. This is a matter that must be taken with extreme precaution. We are giving students and teenagers who haven't been fully developed, we are giving them the privilege of driving. Driving license should only be issued and available to teenagers who are above the age of 18. In an article, Should We Raise the Driving Age? By Shay Holland, she states, maturity matters. Drivers 16 through 17 years old are almost twice as likely to be in an accident as an 18 to 19-year-old. 2017. Studies from Center Disease Control, Department of Transportation, as well as the Institute of Highway Safety all state that they are showing studies that from the ages of 14 through 17, teenagers aren't fully mature, nor has their brain been fully developed. This is clearly stating that students and teenagers don't have the right mindset to be able to be driving along with many other people who have been driving for years. Action must be taken with teenagers of all ages. In an online database, Driving in Teens, it states, teens earn driving privileges in a 3-stage process. Learner's permit at 16, probationary license after 6 months of having their learner's permit, and then an unrestricted license at 18 with AACAP 2016. At the end of the day, driving is a privilege. Driving is not a right. And with that, by the age of 16, with getting your learner's permit, you should understand within those 2 years of learning the ropes of the road and learning how to be fully knowledgeable with how the road system works. Parents, once your child reaches the age of 18, if you feel comfortable with your child being by themselves on the road, then they can give the okay for the child to receive their driver's license. However, it must be after the age of 18. With the good, however, there has always been bad. In the article, 16 Pros and Cons of Raising the Driving Age by Natalie Rigoli, she states, raising the driving age would prevent some teens from learning the responsibility of budgeting for fuel expenses while traveling from school and work. However, with this negative, she also states, that's because young drivers are more likely to take risks than when compared to the older generations. Drivers who are 16 all have the highest crash rate than any other age, 2019. In this case, and many other cases before this, negatives do not weigh out the positives. Many parents never wish to see their child in any sort of harm and capable. With this, students and teenagers should want to learn from their parents on how to properly maneuver a vehicle and how to learn the proper ways of driving on the road courteously with other drivers around them. With that, parents would much rather spend their time in teaching instead of spending their time planning a funeral. In essence, I understand that it sounds harsh. I understand that it sounds terrible to say, but it is the basic reality. Students and teenagers, drivers who are 16, have the highest crash rate than any other age. If by giving the learner's permit and having learner's permit for 2 years and getting your driver's license at 18, you have reached a higher maturity level and you're more than capable of reducing that crash rate and thus landing yourself in an accident. Now, here's what we can do as an action. In the article by Keisha Waits called My Case for Raising the Driving Age, she states the House Bill 708 by the legislative government proposes to increase the age for obtaining a learner's permit to the age of 17 years of age, 2016. By signing this, it brings huge amounts of attention for this bill with just a simple sign. Not only are you saving your life and your child's life, however, you are also saving the life of many others. To finalize, teenagers have always taken advantage of young driving. Young driving is a privilege. It is not a right. The driving age must be raised to 18, with getting a learner's permit at the age of 16 and the latest at 17. However, I do believe that we must have that learner's permit for at least a basic necessity of 2 years, giving you the right and properly learn the knowledge of the road. And then with that, lastly, supporting the House Bill 708 with a simple sign. It can not only help you, but helps so many others around you, and it brings attention to the bill. Now, with that, lastly, we must make change. Without that change, so many students and teenagers of the ages from 16 to 18 could lose their lives. And none of us want that. No parent wants to receive that phone call from their child. Now we must go out there and we must change and we must have discipline with our students and our teenagers and our children, and we must save the lives of not only ours but of so many. Thank you.